morning. This is the Transition and Atlantic Television Network. Following the timely intervention of the River State Governor, Sir Siminalayi Fubara, the local government workers in the state who commenced strike early Tuesday have suspended the industrial action over rift with Emoha local government chairman, Honorable Chidi Lloyd, for refusing to pay council workers' salaries. This is coming after Governor Fubara had, after a closed-door meeting with the leadership of Rivers State Council of the Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees, NULG, the Local Government Service Commission, and chairman of Emoha Local Government Area, Honorable Chidi Lloyd, directed that the parties resolved their differences amicably. In a joint press briefing after the meeting with Governor Siminalayi Fubara in Government House, Port Harcourt, on Tuesday, September 30th, 2025, the chairman of Local Government Service Commission, Chief Israel Woke Amadi, as well as the chairman of Emoha Local Government Area, Honorable Chidi Lloyd, and president of Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees, River State Council, Comrade Clifford Paul, commended Governor Fubara for his intervention and assured that they will comply with his directive to ensure that the disputes were harmoniously resolved. On his part, chairman of Emoha Local Government Area, Honorable Chidi Lloyd, said Governor Siminalayi Fubara has issued very clear directives and assured that they will work together to implement the directives. Members of the Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees across the 23 local government areas in Rivers State, including Ikwere and Emoha local government area, staged a protest today to the council secretariat in the state over what the union called the action by the chairman of Emoha local government area, Dr. Chidi Lloyd, for denying its members their due salaries. This is coming after NULG has issued a 7-day warning strike commencing midnight Tuesday, 30th September. Our correspondent Samuel Ajurunwo, who monitored the protest in Emoha Local Government Council headquarters, reports that the local government workers blocked the entrance to the LGA and major east-west road, preventing vehicular movement within the axis. The protesters, majority on black attires with blackouts and inscriptions like Chidi Lloyd pays us our salaries, amongst others. Speaking to newsmen, one of the leaders of the protest and an executive member of NULG, Sir Goodluck Emesiobi, decried what he called the high level of intimidation being meted on the staff of Emoha local government by Chidi Lloyd, which he said has never been experienced in the history of local government in Nigeria. He also alleged that nearly 400 workers have been dropped without due process and no investigation is ongoing. The NULG leadership also said the strike is one of the numerous instruments used by the union to protect its members against intimidation and urged local government chairmen to carry the workers along by paying them due salaries to avoid the anger of the union. When contacted, Emoha local government chairman Sir Chidi Lloyd denied the allegations, adding that the council did not and do not intend to sack a single staff, but claimed that August salaries are being paid to verify council staff. Meanwhile, River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has summoned local government chairman, State NULG leadership and Local Government Service Commission, and also directed State NULG leadership to call off proposed strike and further proposed another biomedical verification for civil servants. Delta State Police Command says full enforcement of regulations on tinted vehicle glass, siren, and number plates will begin on Thursday, October 2, 2025. A statement signed by spokesperson Bright Edafe on Tuesday said the operation will be carried out across the state in line with federal laws and directives, adding that the clampdown will also cover unauthorized use of sirens while revolving or strobe lights and defacing or obstruction of number plates by private individuals and entitled officials. The Commissioner of Police, Abaniwanda Olufemi, assured residents that the operation will be conducted with professionalism and respect for constitutional rights, adding that the measures are intended to curb road intimidation, strengthen deterrence, and improve public safety. The CP directed area commanders and divisional police officers to supervise the exercise closely and ensure civility in all engagements, and advise motorists to carry their essential vehicle documents, including driver's license, insurance, and proof of ownership, and to cooperate with officers during stop and search procedures. It also urged the public to report misconduct by personnel through the Complaint Response Unit of the command via phone numbers provided. We head to Edo State, where the Executive Council has now approved the revised supplementary budget of 1,820 billion naira for the 2025 fiscal year, up from the initial 675,220 billion naira, representing an increase of approximately 125 billion naira, representing 18%. According to a statement issued on Tuesday by Fred Itwa, the spokesman for Governor Monday Okpebholo, the approval followed an emergency executive meeting presided over by the chairman in Council and Edo State Governor Monday Okpebholo. Briefing reporters after the meeting, the Commissioner for Finance, Emmanuel Okebo, said the rationale behind the adjustment is government's commitment to infrastructure development, adding that the new revised budget now has about 70% for capital expenditure as against 30% for recurrent expenditure, and also shows the commitment of Governor Monday Okpebholo to infrastructural development in the state. Also speaking, the Commissioner for Information and Communication, Paul Onhambamu, said that the revised budget is expected to be forwarded to the Edo State House of Assembly for legislative consideration and passage. The passage followed the adoption of the report of the House Committee on Budget and Project Monitoring at plenary, and while representing the report, the chairman of the committee, Sunday Father, PDP Asian Central, said the budget was made up of 225 billion naira recurrent expenditure and 451 billion naira capital expenditure, adding that the committee came up with the increase in the budgetary allocation to enable the governor to carry out his 5-point agenda in the state. The House and the Committee of Supply also considered the budget clause by clause and subsequently approved the increase from 605.7 billion naira to 675 billion naira, and the Speaker, Blessing Agbebaku, thereafter directed the Clerk of the Assembly, Yahaya Omogbai, to forward clean copies of the budget to the governor for his assent. Niger Delta Development Commission has launched a tree-planting program to tackle the devastating effects of erosion and rising sea levels on coastal communities in the region. The launch was in a bid to ensure a green environment across the 9 indigenous states in partnership with Foundation for Sustainable Development Options and Environmental Solutions non-governmental organization. The managing director of the commission, Samuel Ogbuku, who disclosed this in Calabar, Cross River State at the close of a week-long tree planting and sensitization exercise, and represented by the NDCC State Director, Dr. Daniel Ajunwa, Ogbuku said the initiative became necessary due to the massive ecological impact of erosion across the Niger Delta communities. He further said the program is aimed to restore ecosystems, protect lives, and safeguard the coastal environment, adding that the tree planting would help absorb carbon dioxide, restore ecological beauty, sustain biodiversity, and improve public health. During the campaign, the NDDC also carried out sensitization programs for primary and secondary school pupils in the state, while encouraging them to cultivate the habit of tree planting as part of their civic responsibility. We head to Cross River State, where Governor Basiotu says he is doing everything possible to avoid and encourage eligible persons in the state to get themselves registered in the ongoing Continuous Voters Registration CVR organized by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. A statement by the governor's aide, Dr. Michael Abuo, who is the state coordinator for African Union Development Agency New Partnership for Africa's Development, AUDANPAD, conveyed the governor's message when he paid an advocacy visit to INEC in the state on Tuesday. Abuo, who is also the state coordinator for INEC CVR initiative, expressed readiness to consolidate on the achievements recorded so far by his team in the CVR exercise to ensure that INEC realizes her mandate in the state, adding that the exercise remains dear to the governor in order to step up electoral value in the state. Welcoming Abuo and his team, the resident electoral commissioner, Dr. Johnson S. Alalibo, assured the state government, all political parties and other stakeholders in the state of the needed technical support and a level playing ground for all to succeed, adding that the commission will continue to play its constitutional role to actualize its mandate in Cross River State. Interparty Advisory Council, IPAC, has called for a free, fair, credible and inclusive governorship election in Anambra State, slated for 8th November 2025, and also urged the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to provide a level playing field for all the political parties and the candidates participating in the election. In a congratulatory message to Nigerians on the occasion of the country's 65th independence anniversary, the body of political parties hailed Nigerians for a milestone in the nation's democratic governance and saluted the courage and patriotism of the founding fathers and compatriots who fought for the independence from the British colonial masters. It urged citizens to use the 65th independence anniversary as an opportunity for sober reflection and rededicate themselves to the service of the nation, bearing in mind that this is the only country they have, and further express the need to rebuild trust in the democratic system ahead of the 2027 general election. Lagos State government has now reaffirmed its commitment to building a smart, agile, and future-ready workforce by training over 3,000 officers in innovation and leadership competences during the second and third quarters of 2025. The training programs facilitated by the Ministry of Establishment and Training focus on equipping public servants with modern leadership tools and innovative approaches critical to effective service delivery in a rapid evolving governance landscape. A statement by the ministry said more than 20 training programs were carried out, covering strategic areas such as transformational leadership, fostering a culture of creativity and innovation in the workplace, data-driven solutions and decisions making in the public sector, and leveraging talent development for the next public service. The Commissioner for Establishment and Training, Afolabi Ayantayo, described the initiative as a testament to the state government's commitment to strengthening human capital through continuous capacity development, adding that the training was not only enhancing technical proficiency, but also fostering innovation-driven thinking and proactive leadership across all ministries, departments, and agencies. Minister of Marine and Blue Economy Adeboyega Oyetola has reaffirmed the readiness of the All Progressive Congress APC to return to power in Osun State in 2026. Oyetola gave the assurance during a special prayer session organized to mark his 71st birthday in Iragibi and commended members of the APC in the state for their loyalty, unity, and dedication to the progress of the party. He also expressed delight at the peace and cohesion within the ranks of the party, describing it as a major strength and that would aid its return to power, and also urged leaders and members of the APC across the state to remain steadfast and focused as the party prepares for the next election cycle. He said the successes recorded by the APC in the past were proof of the party's resilience and determination to deliver on its promises, and further express appreciation to his supporters and the organizers of the birthday prayer session, describing their gesture as worthy and deeply appreciated. People's Democratic Party in Kwara State has accused Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak of failing to confront the escalating banditry crisis following Sunday's deadly attack in Okeode, Ifelodun local government area, which left several residents and vigilante members dead. A statement signed by its publicity secretary, Olusegun Olushola Adewara, the Kwara PDP described the massacre as a despicable and senseless act that had thrown the state into deep mourning, blaming the governor for what it's called a monumental leadership failure. Adding that under Abdurrahman's watch, terror is reigning, kidnappers are taking over rural villages, and nowhere is safe again for the people of the state. The opposition party faulted Abdurazak's alleged silence and absence from the affected community, insisting that a responsible leader should have personally visited Ukeode to commiserate with victims' families and give assurances of decisive action, and further accused the governor of neglecting local vigilantes and security personnel battling criminals in the bush, while diverting funds to footballers and entertainers outside the state. A coalition of NUP groups under the NUP Descendants Union also joined calls for urgent intervention, urging the governor to reinforce security deployment, improve intelligence gathering, and personally visit communities under siege. The Okeode killings add to a growing list of violent incidents in Idu, Patigi, Moro, and Ifelodun local government areas, including the murder of a pharmacist in Patigi, the shutdown of the international Bugu market, and the killing of a young driver at Esanti village. Former presidential candidate Peter Obi has expressed sorrow over the deadly attack on Okeode in the Ifelodun local government area of Kwara State that left some vigilante and a community leader dead. The Kwara State Police Command, who confirmed that at least 12 persons, including the Bale of Oyagbo, were killed during Sunday morning's bandits attack, according to a statement signed by the Police Public Relations Officer SP Adetun Ejire Adeyemi. The incident occurred when armed men stormed the Agbayo area of Okeode, shooting periodically and targeting members of the local vigilante, adding that 4 injured victims were immediately taken to the hospital for treatment, while the bodies of the deceased were evacuated. A statement on his X handle on Tuesday by the former Anambra State Governor described the incident as another mindless act of violence and urged urgent action to halt the cycle of bloodshed to normalize tragedy. Obi also offered condolences to the governor, the people of Kwara State, and the bereaved families. FCT administration has now flagged off the reconstruction of Access Area Road S1 reconstruction from Ring Road 2 to FCT Fire Service Station with A3 span bridges in Kwara District, Abuja. Speaking during the flag-off ceremony in Abuja, the Minister of FCT, Barrister Nyesom Wike, said government is making frantic efforts at improving roads within Abuja City, as well as a show regular cleanup ahead of the Commonwealth Games that is to be hosted by Nigeria.
I hope you are aware that Nigeria is bidding to host the next Commonwealth Games. And it will be difficult for us to achieve that if we don't have good network of roads. That when the committee comes and they see that the basic infrastructure is being provided, that gives us leeway to be given the hosting right of the Commonwealth Games. So all these linkages, all this network of roads is also geared to showcase to the world that we have a city that can host the next Commonwealth of Games. Again, it will help the fire service station in case of emergencies. We have always talked about fire incidents, and the response is not usually timely. But we don't ask ourselves, it's not only the fact that maybe they may be lacking some basic amenities, but okay, you don't have a good network of roads that would enable them move down and to see that that fire incident is solved. Like the director of programs have said, look at the fire service station there. By the time this road is constructed with a 3-span bridge, of course, anywhere there's any fire incident and they are called upon, they will respond immediately. Again, this is also to contribute to their efficiency in their job delivery.
Also speaking at the event, the Executive Secretary of FCDA, Engineer Richard Dauda, gave the overview of the project.
Access roads being developed under this project include part of Arterial Road S1 to connect to the Ring Road 2, a collector road, CS2, an important local street, as well as a minor access road as part of the Kaura district development. Your Excellency, the contract for this project was awarded to Messrs. InfoWest International Limited in March 2025 and is expected to be completed in 14 months. The scope of works includes the construction of about 2.4 kilometers of asphalt paved roads along the arterial road, the collector, the important local street, and a minor access road, along with the three-span bridge. The works also include earthworks, surface water drainage, erosion control measures, with a 280-meter retaining wall, with culverts and other services like water drainage. Your Excellency, during the construction of this project, opportunities will avail for job creation, both direct and indirect. And when completed, the road will open up Kaura district for development while providing this essential infrastructure and significantly enhance the operational capacity of the fire service station around here. This will ensure quick access to emergency response and support urban development in the southern sector of the Federal Capital City.
Nasarawa State Police Command has declared nationwide enforcement of the tinted glass permit for vehicles will begin on October 2, 2025, while urging motorists to comply with the directives to avoid sanctions. According to a statement issued by the command's spokesperson, SP Ramhams Nansel, the online registration process is already active and vehicle owners are expected to complete the necessary steps before the enforcement date. The command stressed that the biometric exercise is free of charge, adding that physical registration and biometric capturing can also be carried out directly at the police headquarters on Shendam Road, Lafayette, and further assured residents that the initiative is aimed at strengthening security and transparency while safeguarding road users. You're watching The Transition on Atlantic Television Network. We return after this break. Please stay with us.
Frontline across my discussion 18.
October, now the battle is over.
As Nigeria marks 65 years of independence, we reflect on the nation's remarkable journey of social development, from expanding education and healthcare to empowering women and youth. This progress is a testament to the resilience and determination of the Nigerian people. From your 1960s to your 1970s, Nigeria's early years were marked by significant social challenges, including high illiteracy rates and limited access to healthcare. Despite these challenges, the seeds of progress were sown with initiatives like the Universal Primary Education Scheme and the National Youth Service Corps. Nigeria invested in social welfare programs, including the Better Life for Rural Women program and the National Directorate of Employment, which expanded access to education, healthcare, and economic opportunities from the 1980s to 1990s. These initiatives empowered women and youth, laying the groundwork for future growth. The return to democracy from 1999 brought renewed commitment to social development with initiatives like the Universal Basic Education Program and the National Health Insurance Scheme. These programs strengthened the drive for free education and made healthcare even more affordable. In the modern era, women and youth have become central to Nigeria's social development. Initiatives like Empower and digital entrepreneurship have created jobs and platforms for innovation. Nigerian women have reached new heights globally, exemplified by Amina Mohammed's leadership in year 2015. From year 1960 to 2025, Nigeria's social development story is one of a steady progress. Despite challenges, the nation has expanded education, strengthened healthcare, empowered women, and given youth a voice. As Nigeria celebrates Independence Day, it is clear that its strength lies in its people, especially its women and youths, who carry the torch of hope and innovation. By harnessing their potential and promoting inclusivity, Nigeria can continue to make strides towards a brighter future.
Frontline across the ocean.
These are exciting times for broadcasting in Africa. The National Broadcasting Commission is set to host the 14th Biennial Conference and Exhibition of African Broadcasters, Africast 2025 in Lagos, Nigeria. Participants will experience a week of world-class expositions showcasing the very best in creativity, innovation, and cutting-edge broadcasting technological advancement and trends in the global broadcast media ecosystem. Theme: Navigating the Digital Surge, building a resilient Africa media ecosystem for the future. Date, Monday, October 20th to Friday, October 24th, 2025. Venue, Balmoral Convention Center, Sheraton, Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. Time, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Visit www.africastexpo.com or email info@nbc.gov.ng. NBC to quality broadcasting. Announcer Management.
Welcome back. This is Atlantic Television Network Transition. Now the rest of our stories. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has assured Nigerians that his administration's tough economic reforms are beginning to yield results, declaring that the worst is over. In his national broadcast to mark Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary on Wednesday, the president reflected on the sacrifices of the nation's founding fathers and urged citizens to embrace unity, productivity, and renewed hope for a prosperous future. Tinubu highlighted the achievements of his government in the last 28 months, including the removal of fuel subsidies, reforms in the foreign exchange market, expansion of social investment programs, and improvements in oil production and non-oil exports. He noted that Nigeria's external reserves had risen to $42 billion. Inflation had dropped to 20.12%, the lowest in 3 years, while the economy grew by 4.23% in the second quarter of 2025. The president listed 12 major economic milestones achieved under his leadership, among them record non-oil revenue generation, stabilization of the naira, reduction of debt service ratio, a trade surplus for 5 consecutive quarters, and new investment in transport infrastructure and solid minerals. He also said more resources are now available to state and local governments for grassroots development. The president praised the armed forces for victories against terrorism and banditry and assured the youth of more opportunities through student loans, credit schemes, and digital expertise programs. Acknowledging the temporary pains of reforms, Tinubu urged Nigerians to remain hopeful, declaring that a new, prosperous, and resilient and self-reliant Nigeria is within reach. African Democratic Congress ADC has criticized the federal government's decision to cancel the 65th Independence Anniversary Parade, describing it as another sign of disconnect between the presidency and the Nigerian people. This is coming after the federal government had on Monday declared the cancellation of the parade, which was scheduled for October 1 in Abuja. Bolaji Abdullahi, spokesman of the ADC, who said other anniversary activities, however, will go ahead as planned, faulted the move, saying the parade is a symbolic moment that should not be abandoned, stressing that leaders owe it to Nigerians to be transparent, while contrary opinion is simply another case of presidential abstinence. He also questioned why President Bola Tinubu failed to attend other key national events in recent times, including the passing out parade of the Nigerian Defense Academy, insisting such absences raise concerns about the government's priorities. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has lauded the resilience and endurance of Nigerians despite alleged biting economic hardship and insecurity, while faulting the All Progressive Congress-led government for failing to safeguard citizens' welfare as the nation marks its 65th independence anniversary. A statement issued on Tuesday by his media aide, Paul Ibe, Atiku urged Nigerians to continue to face harsh economic conditions and rising insecurity, adding that as Nigeria commemorates commemorate independence on October 1, 1960, citizens should share their reflections on the nation's progress, challenges, and future prospects. In this message, Atiku lamented that Nigerians are enduring excruciating pains from raging insecurity, rising food scarcity, mass unemployment, and a dangerous climate of hopelessness, all compounded by the insensitivity of the APC-led administration. Atiku encouraged Nigerians not to lose hope, stressing that with the right leadership, the nation can overcome years of failed governance and reclaim its rightful position among the community of nations, and further urged Nigerians to keep hope alive, insisting that with the right leadership, the country can still rise from the ashes of failed governance to reclaim its rightful place among the community of nations. The presidency has now reacted to rumored decision of former President Goodluck Jonathan to join the 2027 presidential race after an elder statesman and chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Professor Jerry Gana, had confirmed that Jonathan would contest the 2027 presidency on the platform of the PDP. Reacting, Mr. Bayo Nanuga, the spokesman to President Bola Tinubu, said it is now left for the court to decide if someone like Jonathan, who was sworn in twice as president, satisfied the constitutional requirements and is eligible to contest the presidency again. The presidency said the record of Jonathan led to the downfall of the economy, leaving the country in a challenging situation, most of them full of sound and fury, signifying nothing, to paraphrase imitable William Shakespeare in one of his classic works, Macbeth. The former Minister of Information and National Orientation, moving to draft former President Goodluck Jonathan into the 2007 presidential race, affirmed that the former president would contest the coming election on the platform of the discredited People's Democratic Party, PDP, which bequeathed a legacy of economic ruins after 16 years of bad governance. The presidency also alleged that under him, the so-called business moguls allocated foreign exchange to import fuel, as well as simply pocketing the dollars without importing anything, adding that Jonathan and his national security advisor, Colonel Sambo Dasuki, retired, freely distributed security funds to friends and cronies, stressing that in 2010, President Jonathan inherited a total of $66 billion, of which $64 billion was in foreign reserves and $20 billion in the noble but abused excess crude account. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun has charged police officers called to the Nigerian bar to deploy their legal expertise in defending the Nigerian police force with professionalism, courage, and integrity. According to a statement issued on Tuesday by the First Public Relations Officer, CSP Benjamin Hundeyin, Egbetokun gave the charge while receiving the officers at the force headquarters in Abuja, adding that among the newly qualified lawyers was Deputy Superintendent of Police Idachaba Laraba, who was specifically recognized by the IGP for graduating with first-class honors from the Nigerian Law School. The police chief described their call to bar as not only a personal achievement, but also a valuable addition to the force, adding that police powers must always be exercised within the bounds of the law, while urging the officers to serve as custodians of legal knowledge within the institution. The officers in response expressed appreciation for the opportunity to attend law school and acknowledged the IGP's continued support, and also pledged to maintain high standards of professionalism in their dual capacities as police officers and legal practitioners. The statement also said the addition to the law profession comes as the first recently upgraded the legal section to a full directorate, now led by an Assistant Inspector General of Police, a move seen as part of ongoing reforms to enhance legal oversight and capacity within the institution. Federal High Court in Abuja has rescheduled the arraignment of former presidential candidate and activist Omoyele Sowore and two others on cybercrime charges to October 27th. Sowore and his co-defendants were due to be docked for allegedly making false posts about President Bola Tinubu with the intent to cause a breakdown of law and order in the country, and the other defendants in the suit are X and Meta Incorporated Facebook as second and third defendants, respectively. The plaintiff, the Department of State Services, in a 5-count criminal charge, accused Sowore of using his official X handle, Yale Sowore, to abuse President Tinubu, and the alleged posts said to contravene Section 24, Subsection 2, Subsection B of the Cyber Crimes Prohibition and Prevention Act 2024 was purportedly made on August 25, 2025, within the jurisdiction of the Federal High Court. In count 2, Sowore was accused of posting the same message on his official Facebook page on August 26, 2025 for the purpose of inciting public disorder, particularly among Nigerians holding divergent views about President Tinubu, and was also charged with publishing defamatory material against the president through his X account, contrary to Section 375 of the Criminal Code. The Department of State Services, which filed the case on behalf of the federal government, further accused him in count 4 of using his Facebook account to publish defamatory content against the president, also contrary to Section 375 of the Criminal Code. And then the matter was called. Sowore's lead counsel, Abubakar Marshal, protested that his client had not received the charge as required by law, and since the case was a joint charge, the arraignment could not proceed. Counsel to the federal government, Mohammed Babadako Abubakar, who is the Director of Public Prosecutions of the Federation, disputed the claim and insisted that Sowore had been served, and the trial judge, Justice Mohammed Gaba, examined the case file and confirmed that service had not been affected, and Justice Gaba upheld the request and adjourned the arraignment to October 27th. National Industrial Court sitting in Abuja has restrained the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASAN, from embarking on its planned industrial action against Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals, FZE. The order came last night as both parties were locked in a reconciliation meeting convened by the federal government to resolve contentious issues between them, and it was learned that the meeting was still on with no agreements reached between both parties. However, the court, in a ruling delivered by Justice Emmanuel Subilim, made the order following an ex parte application filed before it by Dangote Refinery and other defendants in the matter, included the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum, as well as the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. The court specifically barred the defendants from cutting crude and gas supply to Dangote Refinery, and in the motion filed through a team of lawyers led by Mr. Ogu Onoja San, Dangote Refinery applied for an order of interim injunction to restrain the first defendant, its members, agents, servants, privies, representatives, assigns, or whatsoever, and however called, from calling or directing the halt of crude and gas supply to the claimant under any guise. The order is also to stop them from embarking on any industrial action against the claimant with a view to crippling, blocking roads, or obstructing the flow of vehicular movement, shutting down operations of the claimant or licensees of the second to fourth defendants named in the first defendant's directives dated September 26, 2025, or by any means frustrating the business or activities of the claimant applicants pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice. And now we head to some business reports. Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has signed another 2-year crude supply agreement with the Dangote Petroleum Refinery, and the deal signed last month would ensure the steady supply of crude to the 650,000 barrel per day refinery located in Lekki, Lagos. The deal is in line with the federal government's determination to supply more crude to the facility, especially in Naira, and about 82 million barrels of crude have now been allocated to the refinery from October 2024 to date, while out of the 82 million barrels, 60%, being 49.3 million barrels, was sold in Naira to the refinery. This is coming after the Dangote Refinery recently declared stopping petrol sales in Naira, citing the exhaustion of its crude for Naira allocation as a reason. But hours later, the Naira for Crude Technical Committee chairman intervened, and the company declared the resumption of PMS sales in Naira. Chief Corporate Communications Officer of NNPC, Andy O'Day, said the company had continued to allocate crude to the refinery in Naira, adding that the NNPC, Dangote Refinery, and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority periodically reconcile the volume and cost of crude oil supplied in Naira, commensurate with the crude delivered. The spokesperson also said the state-owned energy company and the refinery negotiated and signed a new sales and purchase agreement that would terminate in 2027, adding that crude loading operations for August had been completed, while September loading operations are currently ongoing, with 2 vessels presently in terminals for pre-loading formalities. Federal government has reiterated its commitment to repositioning Nigeria's micro, small, and medium enterprises as the bedrock of economic transformation. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who disclosed this at the 6th annual lecture of the Development Bank of Nigeria held in Abuja, said following the PwC's NSME surveys 2024, Nigeria's microenterprises accounted for 96.9%, while SMEs accounted for 31% of the total number of businesses in the country and contributed about 46.3% to the national GDP and accounted for 6.21% of gross exports and employed over 84% of the total workforce as of 2020. The Vice President, represented by the Special Advisor to the President on Economic Affairs, Dr. Tokwe Fausua, said MSMEs remain central to the administration's renewed hope agenda, adding that beyond policy reforms, institutions such as the Development Bank of Nigeria are critical in ensuring entrepreneurs across Nigeria have access to the right tools to thrive. The Vice President outlined President Tinubu's reform agenda, including fuel subsidy removal, foreign exchange unification, infrastructure renewal, human capital investment, and global engagement, adding that these measures were designed to stimulate enterprise, attract investment, and expand opportunities for small businesses. We head to some international reports. South Africa's ambassador to France, Nkosinati Emmanuel Nati Methethewa, was found dead on Tuesday at the foot of the Hyatt Regency Hotel, a high-rise building in the western Paris. Authorities said Methethewa's wife had reported him missing on Monday evening after receiving a troubling text message from him, and this is coming after he had checked into a room on the 22nd floor of the hotel, where investigators later found that a secure window had been forced open, though officials declined to comment on possible conclusions. French media, including Le Parisien, said Methethewa is believed to have been killed, though no official confirmation has been given. And while South Africa's Department of International Relations and Cooperation confirmed the ambassador's death, the French authorities are handling the investigation. According to the South African Embassy's website, Methethewa previously served as South Africa's Minister of Arts and Culture from 2014 to 2019, before taking on the combined portfolio of sports, arts and culture from 2019 to 2023. European and Middle Eastern leaders have expressed support for a new U.S. brokered peace proposal aimed at ending the conflict in Gaza after President Donald Trump issued a stark warning to Hamas to accept the deal or face consequences. The plan, jointly declared by Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, calls for immediate ceasefire, the release of 20 living Israeli hostages within 72 hours, and the return of the remains of more than 2 dozens others believed to be dead, while in exchange Israel would release hundreds of detained Palestinians. Hamas officials have been given the 20-point plan that will have no role in governing Gaza and leaves the door open for an eventual Palestinian state, but Netanyahu later again ruled out Trump's 20-point Gaza peace plan. He also said the peace plan would allow the Israeli Defense Forces IDF to stay in Gaza, contrary to the text of the proposal published by the White House, while the Palestinian Authority, which governs part of the Israeli-occupied West Bank, has called the U.S. president's efforts to be sincere and determined. In a joint statement, the foreign ministers of the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Egypt, Jordan, Turkey, Indonesia, and Pakistan said they welcomed Trump's leadership and his sincere efforts to end the war in Gaza. We head to some sports reports. Benfica boss Jose Mourinho says he remains Chelsea's most successful manager in the club's history. Mourinho spoke at his pre-match press conference ahead of Benfica's UEFA's Champions League tie with the Blues on Tuesday night at Stamford Bridge. According to the Portuguese, he's still the best manager to coach Chelsea until someone else comes and wins 4 Premier League titles for the club. This is coming after Mourinho won 3 Premier League titles and other trophies, including the FA Cup, during his time at Chelsea. Norway under-20 head coach Bojan Johansson has reflected on his side's victory over the Flying Eagles of Nigeria, while the Europeans recorded a 1-0 victory over Aliyu Zubairu's side in Talca. Captains Rasmus Holten's 9th-minute penalty separated both teams on the night. Johansson said it was important for his team to start their campaign on a winning note, and Norway will face Colombia in their next game on Thursday. This is coming after Colombians defeated Saudi Arabia 1-0 in their opening fixture. We now head to some entertainment reports. Popular comedian and talk show host Teju Oyalakin, popularly known as Teju Babyface, had advised men against confessing to their wives or partners if they cheat, warning that such admissions only cause more harm than good. Teju described confessing infidelity as one of the most catastrophic and damaging things a person can do in a marriage, adding that many people misinterpret the idea of confession, while some quotes the Bible to justify it, adding that confession of sin is meant for God and not for humans. He said people who confess after cheating often deceive themselves into thinking they are being honest, when in reality they are being manipulative, and further argued that confessions rarely heal relationships, but instead deepen wounds and permanently alter trust. And that's the size of the package. Thanks for joining us. I am Otaria Benjamin. Remember, you can connect with us on our social media platforms: on X, Atlantic TV Net; on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. We're on Instagram on Atlantic TV Network 1. Remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you so much for watching. Stay with us. Up next is Society Watch.